Minchville Road and now Old Minchville Road, with Duck Lane. And I was curious, you're talking about waterfront shops and activities and different venues. And I guess that's kind of exactly what the understudy designation,
I'm sorry.
that's what it's for. It would embrace any type of study, not just housing. It's for different activities.
Let's do a new study, get rid of the housing.
I don't think housing is on the table.
I thought they were gonna put $1 million homes in there.
No.
What are y'all planning on doing?
It's under study, that's the whole point. I think we're looking at a lot of different options.
But making it part of the public park and making it accessible for everybody to use that waterway. Have you ever been off the water right there and looked in on it from the
Yes.
water? It is beautiful.
I think
If you ever stood
yes.
there and looked out at the water, it's beautiful. Like somebody said, the city farm, they had one heck of a nice resort there.
I've voted there for years.
Good.
I was curious because the understudy designation doesn't mean housing.
Okay. I've heard $1 million homes.
That was just my comment.
That's what the comprehensive plan says.
Yes.
Mine was the same, Ms. Fox covered my point. I was just going to echo what Commissioner Fox said. The understudy is designed for understudy. There's no designation of what it's going to be that it's designed to study. And it's definitely to the point that you brought up about the historical fact. So if there are things that are
Historically, we could be another Jamestown. It could be part of the look or the walk that people make from colonial Williamsburg to Jamestown, or not to Newport News, to Warwickshire. That's what it was called. And before that, it was one of the first 8 shires in the area. 8 shires across Virginia, and that was one of them. And that port was deep. There's been pirate ships in that bay. There's been British ships in that bay. They had everything by wagons. They had to bring everything down by wagon to go out by that port. And those ports then shipped it over to the north, to the Europe, the tobacco, all of the different crops. There's a lot of history there if y'all dig. There's a lot.
Any further questions?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Since you said if we dig, I hope that you are aware that we are doing it. The city has paid for the archaeological study that is happening right now. You're aware of that, right? Okay. That has to be done before we, jump up and down and say we have the next Jamestown or whatever it might be. I do think that I think we kind of crossed a barrier in the last several minutes by your comments, because I've heard numerous people in private say that they're fine with a marina. They're fine with improving the bulkhead for the working watermen. They're fine with improving that which C&U has there. They're fine with adding
Making it public access is the whole
public
thing.
access. Hang on. But you also have said you'd be in favor, at least, you're just speaking for yourself, some sort of shops. We've heard Mr. Good say he'd be in favor of some sort of minimal improvements, I believe, for canoes, kayaks, and those types of things. To me, it's a huge step forward in this entire process that in public, people are finally saying this. So I appreciate your input, and I appreciate your enthusiasm for the history. Thank you very much.
I think it needs to be voted no today and then rewrote so houses can't be built there.
Well, I tend to think this is my opinion, not that of the commission. Understudy means we're going to study it. We're going to find out what history is there, and then we're going to work together in a collaborative fashion and move forward together. That's what understudy means to me. In my opinion, is just that. It's my opinion. But thank you for your input. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Can I say one thing?
You may.
My understanding is this parcel, I just wanted to make it clear, this parcel is still, there's all one parcel of the park. That's already existing. the
That's
Metro
true.
Park. It is all one parcel. It is zoned park.
Yes.
Which is the highest zoning that you can, it's very different, it's the highest zoning that you can have. Is that correct?
Historical's one up above.
It's zone park.
It's zone park.
Which means you can't build houses.
Right, you cannot build houses there, you
No
have
matter
to
what you do.
rezone it, you have to go through a rezoning process, and it's all one parcel.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I understand.
And to further clarify, so I understand also, a land use designation as park or understudy, either one would require rezoning or
That's right.
anything else.
That's correct.
So if it's designated park, it could still be rezoned
Right.
if that were the will of the commissioner of the city
Right.
council.
But currently it's park.
But currently it's zone park and the land use designation has no bearing on the zoning, is that correct?
No.
Not at this point, no.
Ms. Willis?
I was going to say, my understanding is that when somebody has a zoning change that needs to be made, we go to the comprehensive plan. We look at what the designation is on the zoning, or designation on the comprehensive plan. If we have the words understudy there, I don't see a land use for the words understudy. And that's why I feel there's a flaw, because understudy is not a land use, that it needs to have a description of the use of the land. And I don't know, is it possible to bypass, whenever we have a change in zoning, we look to the comprehensive plan, say someone says, oh, I'd like commercial here. They look to the comprehensive plan and say, oh, look, understudy. There's no land use here at all. So there is no change needed to the comprehensive plan. We bypass changing the comprehensive plan. They can jump straight to changing the zoning to commercial and have the backing of the comprehensive plan.
That would not be correct. If the designation is understudy, if someone came in and they wanted to rezone the property, you'd have to do the study before you could rezone it. You couldn't just rezone it based on what someone wanted to be rezoned to without doing the study.
Well, what would the land use be?
The land
The
use
comprehensive
the
plan
land
is
use would
supported.
be determined once the study is completed, which would require yet another public hearing.
But right now, the land use is park.
Right now, the land use is understudy,
Okay.
so, and the zoning is park. So it could be developed as a park based on the zoning. But if you wanted to change that zoning, you'd have to do that study. That study would have to go through a public hearing and be adopted as part of that comprehensive plan in order to rezone it to whatever the request is.
And I guess, and I know these are questions we all have, but I think it's good to bring some of this out here now, because I think there seems to be a lot of confusion as to what the understudy designation means. And I don't disagree with Ms. Willis about the land use. However, if we had a study, if we had say a developer, because that seems to be the point of contention, come in and ask to rezone that property into residential, and the land use was understudy, and they then did a study, would they be able to change the land use to residential without getting the zoning changed first?
No.
Right.
Theoretically, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, theoretically, the land use in accordance with the comprehensive plan is supposed to match the zoning.
Right. That's,
And right now it doesn't.
Right.
Right. But I mean,
Right
so,
now.
so theoretically, someone should not be able to come in and rezone the property while the land use is designated understudy. There should be a designation for the land use that matches the zoning if someone wants to rezone the property.
Can you say that one more time? So the land use should match the zoning in the comp plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the land use should, the land use is what you look at first, in terms of revamping the comp plan. And then, once you determine the land use, the zoning should match it.
Right.
Okay.
So what has happened is that in 1997, when we did the comprehensive rezoning and rezoned that land to park, it did match the land use plan at the time. But in 2008, City Council adopted a new comprehensive plan and it put that property under study. The zone didn't change. The zone is still park. So in order now to change that zoning to anything else, you're going to have to do that study. period.
So if the zoning and use says park in the comprehensive plan, you could still study it, it could still be changed.
Yes,
So ultimately, it's not a complete protection if they both match up and say
no,
zoning and use.
it could still change.
However, go ahead, I'm sorry.
But any piece of property in Newport needs to be rezoned,
Yes, yes.
not just this piece of
Right,
property.
and what would happen is that you could say that we had to study the land use, but if the land use, let's say if the land use was commercial, but the property was zoned residential, and the owner of the property wants their land changed to commercial, if the land use plan identifies it as commercial already, then they have every right to have that property changed to commercial.
So if the understudy comes back, let's assume you hired an engineer, and it comes back and denotes that it's X, Y, Z. So the whole process, similar to this, so that plan would be put out, staff would work on it, there'd be a bunch of public hearings.
Yes,
We would probably go through the same way we went through with the comprehensive plan, maybe a couple public hearings for people to comment.
yes,
It would come before us, and then we would recommend to city council.
correct.
So ultimately, the plan would be more, the use of that land would be more at risk at that point than it is now.
Correct.
But if we've studied this, so right now, legally, the land use as part of the comp plan should match the zoning. Is that correct, Lynn?
Well, what I'm saying is that theoretically, the two should match. But when you're doing a comprehensive plan revamp, or either just looking at a parcel of land, determining what the land use should be in accordance with a comprehensive plan designation, you do that, and then the zoning should follow.
Okay, thank you.
If sometimes you have a zoning change, you should have a zoning change if you change the comp plan designation on a parcel.
The state of Virginia or the federal government can also come in there, since this property's been there since 1600. In 1607, one of the first 3 colonies in the area, okay, they could come in and actually put that as a historical area, without a doubt. So I think that if you guys make the right moves, we're good. But you start getting housing, I think you're gonna have one heck of a fight.
Thank you. Any other questions?